Welcome everybody to this Belmont Public Library program hosted by Blonde Beauchamp, who is going to be sharing with us some Haitian recipes. She's a Haitian-American Boston native and delights in sharing the tasty recipes of her ancestral home, which we are very excited to hear about. And she's also featuring local produce from the vendors at Belmont Farmers Market today. So welcome again to Blonde. Thank you for joining us and please take it away.
Thank you. Hey guys, I'm so excited you guys are here. For those of you who don't have your cameras on, if it's because of the recording, I totally understand. But if you're in the process of cooking, hi Karen. If you're in the process of cooking and you have some questions, and if you want to angle your camera towards your cooking space, if you're able to, then at some point you could do that, and then we can answer questions as you're moving along. But otherwise, let's go ahead and get started. We have an hour to cook a meal of 3 parts. We're going to do rice, legume, which is a stewed vegetable dish, which is very popular in our Haitian culture, and it holds on to heat. The way it's prepared is very good at keeping things warm. The dish itself stays hot. So tonight is a bit of an appropriate night for that. It's not too warm, it's starting to cool down. It's perfect during the wintertime. So, and then we're going to do fried plantains, twice fried plantains. So if you love fried food, then we're gonna do that. So I'm excited. Feel free to, like Allison did say, if you have any questions or comments, put it in the chat box and I'll address them. And there is the PDF right there for you guys to download for the instructions, if you want to keep that for a later time. But let's go ahead and get started. Did you guys already prepare your ingredients? You got everything prepared? Awesome. Frederic?
Not really. No.
Okay.
Not really. Sorry for that. But I will.
Okay. No problem, Frederic. So if you could just, however you can move along, so that we can get it all done in an hour, do what you need to do. The cloves, maybe you're not going to chop up the cloves. Maybe you just crush them, or you could just throw them in at the end and it could just cook through differently. You get a different flavor. When we saute the onions and the garlic, you get a caramelized, sweeter flavor out of it. But if you throw the garlic in there while the pot is stewing, you get a very softer flavor. So if you don't have time to chop all of the ingredients, at least you could just all get it all in the pan. You'll still get a good flavor, but it'll be a bit more mild. Clavs, Maya, and Mary, they said that they've got their ingredients prepared. Yoon Kim, I'm sorry if I'm saying the name wrong, and Anna, we saw her a moment ago. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna get started with our rice because the rice is the easiest and it's gonna need time to stay on the stove. So we're gonna start with the rice and forget about it. So I've got my water already in my pan. If you guys need to go ahead and get that, I'll get my water started on a boil. All right. And I'm going to add, oh, hey family. Hey Clavs, Maya, and Mary. How y'all doing? Who's the little one? Are you Mary or Maya? You look like a Maya. Are you Maya? That's awesome. How old are you? Give me your fingers. What are you, 9, 8? You're 6? Oh man, you're a champ. You're 6 years old? I'm so excited you're cooking with us today. Do you love cooking? Aw, you're awesome. Okay, so let me know when you guys have your water boiling. Add your salt and your oil to it. All right. So you had 2 1/4 cups of water, a bit of salt, a teaspoon of salt. If you don't want salt, you don't have to use salt. And then we'll do a tablespoon of olive oil, which I forgot mine. Let me just move off screen and get my olive oil. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and add salt to mine. Get it ready for my rice. And my olive oil as well. All right, how y'all doing? Hi, Sasha. How you doing? You good?
Good.
Nice, awesome, good to see you. Once that water is boiling, we'll throw in our rice. What I like to do with my rice is I put it in a sieve and then I rinse it. You did that, Anne? Yeah, and then I rinsed it because you've got to rinse your rice. And this is an easy way to do the rinsing so that you're not losing any rice. And then once my water is boiling, I'll go ahead and add this to my pot. Are you guys doing a rice cooker over there, Clav's family? Clav's, Maya, and Mary, is that what you got? A rice cooker? Oh, okay, cool. It looked like a rice cooker for a second. I love that it's a whole family over there cooking. That's so nice. Okay. Anna Vasilescu. I wonder if I said your name correctly. I like your name.
Yes, I'm Anna Christina Vasilescu. I'm watching today. I have most of the ingredients, but I want to watch you cook.
Oh yeah, that's fine. That's no problem, Anna. If you have any questions, just let us know. All right, so my water is just about to do the rolling boil. Ooh, is that carrot pretty good? You look like a rabbit having your carrot with the stem on it. That's awesome. All right. So my water is pretty much boiling, so I'll go ahead and add my rice. I'll just give it a quick stir and I'll let it come back to a boil. I'll leave it on medium. Once you add your rice into the pan, lower your fire to medium and let it, I'm gonna move my pan over to another burner, but let that come to another boil, not like a rolling boil, because you just want to get it down to, you're bringing your fire down to medium heat. And then we'll look for little pockets of bubbles above the rice levels. You guys remember Frederic from last time we did that. So the little pockets where the water is reducing, the rice is absorbing the water, and then we'll turn it down to a simmer and we'll cover it. So for now, leave it uncovered and leave it on medium heat. I'm gonna switch mine to another burner. All right. So let me know when you've got your rice going and then we can move on to the next step. We'll still monitor the rice. We're gonna keep an eye on the rice, but we're moving on to the next step so we can get everything done in an hour. And after we do this together, you'll be able to do this in an hour yourselves as well. Aside from prepping your ingredients, like your vegetables and such, peeling them and chopping them and cutting them. That will take some time, but for now, I'm gonna use this larger pan for my legume, the stewed vegetables. All right. Has everyone added their rice to their pot? Okay, you did. Did you guys? You guys did already? Maya, did you guys? Not yet? Okay. Once everybody has their rice in there, let me know. We're gonna move on to the next stage. We're gonna do our legume. You good over there, Karen? I love the thumbs up. Anne, you're cool? Doing good? Okay, good. Sasha and Frederic, rice going? Cool. Maya, you're good?
Yeah, I mean, we can move on to the next step. Our water is not quite at a boil, but
Oh, okay.
we'll keep an eye on it.
Okay, good. Which is fine because once it does start to boil, because the rice isn't going to take the full 45 minutes to an hour to cook, it's going to cook a lot less. So that's fine. All right, so let's go ahead to our next step. Anna, you're good? Yun Kim? Anna Vasiluscu?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
Okay,
I'm
great.
enjoying everyone's kitchen and yours.
Good, good. And Yun Kim, if you have any questions, let us know. All right, so let me get my fire. I'm gonna put a medium heat on my pan for the legume. You want something about this large, by the way, for your legume. Yes, that's good, Frederic. Yeah, that's perfect. That way you can fit everything in. So this is about 3 or 4 inches deep. And I would say 12 or 13 inches wide. Oh yeah, that's great, Clavs. I'm assuming you're the Clavs and not the Mary. Yeah, okay. All right. All right. My rice is boiling. You guys should be towards a boil with your rice in the pan at this point. Yep, okay, you are? Okay, good. Okay, good. Can you hear my rice? Can you hear the bubbling, the popping, the little rolling bubble? No? Okay, it's not that loud. You can't, Maya? All right, so let me go ahead and, well, I still have some water in my pan. All right, so I'm gonna add my oil to my pan. I got about 3 tablespoons of oil in there. Let me bring this in some more. You should get a good view of that. And I'm gonna go ahead and add my chopped onions to the pan. All right. So if you have your chopped onions in, that's good, but if you don't, that's fine. Let's switch over to looking at the rice. I'm going to show you what my rice looks like. I want you to get a view of that. So there goes the pockets that I was referring to. You see that? Okay, so you're going to have to look at the other screen, Anne. Yeah, my other Blonde Beauchamp screen. Do you see me? I'm someplace.
If you look at the gallery view, you'll see.
Oh, I
the
see.
top view.
Thank you. Thank you. I got it. Got
Good,
it.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so at this point, we turn this down to a simmer and cover it. You see that, everybody? Thank you, Anna, for mentioning. I forgot I should mention, put it on gallery view if you need to see. But that's what the rice should look like. And now we're ready to put our lid on it and turn it down to a simmer.
Okay.
All right. All right, there we go. And that's gonna just, we could leave that on for the entire time that we're cooking. At the simmer,
Okay.
it will not burn out. We could check it from time to time if you want. You want to check the grains of rice to make sure it's cooking properly. If the liquid has completely cooked through and the grains of rice have too much of a bite to it, Then we could add a bit of like maybe 2 tablespoons of water or liquid at a time just to get that right texture that you want. For the ratio that I provided, most rice brands will be able to cook through with that ratio that I provided in the recipe. But if for some reason yours isn't cooking properly, then yeah, you just add a couple of tablespoons at a time so that you're not getting mushy rice. You want to get nice fluffy grains of rice. So, okay, that one is on simmer. Let me just make sure it's sitting good. We'll check on it in like 30 minutes. So that's mindless at this point, and we can focus on the next few steps that we're going to step into. Let me see if there are any questions. Oh, Karen, sorry, I didn't see that question. At this point, you can cover the rice. I'm sorry, I totally missed that question before, Karen. My bad. I had the chat box out of screen. Okay, so now we've got our onion sauteing in the pan. We can go ahead and keep your fire at a medium heat so that you're not burning it. Between medium and low, medium, low. Hi, Sarah. Sarah, are you cooking with us? Are you watching for now and then you'll cook later? I'm gonna go ahead and add my garlic at this point, but I'm gonna bring my fire down even low. So I'll bring it down to a medium. I'm sorry, a low heat because I do not want to burn my garlic. Okay. That. You can see it all fine. Any questions, any comments? None so far. All right. Added your garlic to your pans. Just got it on a low, making sure it doesn't burn.
What about the tomato paste and dry spice?
We're gonna do the dry spice next and then the tomato paste next. So the way I wrote out the recipe,
Yeah.
I wrote it in a foolproof fashion. So while I'm doing it with you guys, we'll do it this way because I'll be able to just articulate what to not do, making sure things don't burn out. But if somebody's not like, if I don't know somebody's cooking level, then I wrote out the recipe just in case they may not be experienced with cooking garlic, because you know what happens when a garlic burns, it tastes bitter and it's just not, yeah. So everybody's nodding yes. So at this point, we can go ahead and add our spice. What spices are you guys using? Of course, I'm using my spice, this Haiti spice blend, my business spice blend. But what are you doing? Oh, yay, you got it, Frederic. That's right. I remember you did buy
So
it.
how can we find your spice?
I sell it online, and depending on where you are located, sometimes I do, depending on the event, I can do a drop off. So there is no fee for shipping. And you could just collect it at a central location. For this cooking class, we didn't have that option. I wasn't able to do a central drop off, but otherwise you would order it from my website, thishaiti.com. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for the question, Sarah. Sarah, are you cooking?
Me?
Yeah. Are you able to cook right now? Or
So I went to, I looked for a Haitian food store and I went and they didn't have any spices that were anything like a blend. And so I wasted all this time and I'm just arriving at home, but I have all the ingredients.
Okay.
So yeah, I was trying to find a spice that was, so they had herbe de Provence and cinnamon and clove at that store, but nothing that was a blend.
Yeah, you're typically not going to find a blend, but to make this, you could still use salt and pepper and you'll still have good flavor out of this. So
Oh, well, I have a lot of spice blends at home. I'm kind of a spice junkie.
Oh, okay, well, great. Feel free to experiment. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add my spice blend. I've got about, oops, tablespoon that I'll be adding. What did I put in the ingredients here? In the recipe, I put 2 teaspoons. You can add more if you'd like. I tend to add more. I'm heavy-handed with spice. So it's up to you how much spice you want to use, but 2 tablespoons at least. And we're just gonna go ahead and add it to our pan. And
2
stir it around.
tablespoons or 2 teaspoons?
I'm sorry, 2 teaspoons, Ann.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
I'm a literal cook.
Yeah, good. And yeah,
Okay.
I did need to say 2 teaspoons.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, just stir that around. We're just gonna get it coated in some oil. So if your pan is, if you don't have any oil in your pan, you can go ahead and add a little bit right now, about a teaspoon. And stir everything up in there. And right away, we're
Just a
gonna,
quick question about spices. In Haiti, do you use any cumin or turmeric?
growing up, we didn't use any of those ingredients. And I don't believe turmeric grows in Haiti, but I could be wrong. There might be a region that does grow turmeric. So for example, different regions in Haiti use coconut because coconut doesn't grow throughout the land. So for example, growing up, my mom didn't cook with a lot of coconut milk because that wasn't what she was accustomed to growing up in her region. But for places in Haiti where it does grow in abundance, you'll find it in their recipes quite frequently. So cumin, for example, I didn't grow up with it. And my experience in Haiti is I didn't like no turmeric and no cumin as well. But I don't see why it wouldn't work in Haitian food, the cumin or the turmeric flavor, but very little amounts of it, because otherwise the flavor profile, I think, will change drastically with those types of ingredients. Those are very pungent ingredients, though. So, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and add my tomato paste.
Does Haitian cooking use ginger?
What was that?
Does Haitian cooking use ginger?
Yeah, we do actually. Yeah, you do find people using ginger. My mother uses ginger. I use ginger. I have relatives who use ginger. So yeah, ginger does. You do find that in some Haitian cooking. Yeah. We also drink it as a tea very frequently as well. Very frequently.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Very strong, spicy tea, but it's delicious. And some people think that it keeps colds away, colds and flus away, but I don't know.
I heard ginger tea is good for upset stomachs. That's what they always say also.
Yeah, I've heard people say that. So what we're gonna do is with the tomato paste in the pan, keep adding your oil just to see how things are working out. You don't want it to start burning, so keep adding oil to your pan, teaspoons at a time to see how it's blending up together. All right. So if you could see my pan, let's see. Get a close-up view so you could see that. I'm going to add a little bit more oil to my pan. So it's a bit clumsy. It doesn't stir very easily because there's no liquid to break down the tomato paste. But what you're doing right now is getting the caramelization. You're getting all of the sugars out of the ingredients that are currently in the pan. And that's creating a flavor base for you. So just keep stirring it, keep adding your olive oil to make sure it's not getting stuck to the pan. You'll get a bit of caramelization sticking to the pot, but we'll deglaze it with some liquid later. But for now, just make sure you just try to keep stirring it around to keep things from getting too burnt. I'm gonna go ahead and add my sprigs of thyme. I did mention 3 sprigs and it's kind of, yeah, that looks great, Clavs. Your thymes look great. Yeah, that looks good, Frederique. That's a good amount. That's more than I have, but that's good. If you like thyme, if you like the flavor, that'll be great. Yeah, you like. So you have your thyme, Ann?
I did, but am I supposed, I took the little leaves off.
Oh yeah, that's fine. You could do that.
It doesn't
too.
matter. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So I leave mine with the stems and then I fish them out later
Gotcha.
if I want to be nice. Otherwise, I just leave them in and whoever grabs it in their pot, in their own plate, they just fish it out themselves. So you can go ahead and throw that into the pan.
Can you use just the dry spice that you get in the store?
Sorry?
The dry thyme? Can you just use the thyme that you get in the spice department? The
Sure, you
dry?
can do that. Yeah. That's fine, Sarah.
So what would that be, like a spoon?
I think that might be more like, let me look at this. Let me look at my, yeah, I think you'd get about 3/4 teaspoon, about between 3/4 teaspoon to a teaspoon of the dry thyme, Sarah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, let's say 3/4 teaspoon is what you'll end up with for the dry thyme. Yeah.
Well, since
Sorry?
you're answering that question, can
Oh.
you
You're welcome.
tell me like the equivalent for 4 cloves? Because I already have, ground cloves.
Clove powder. Oh yeah, that would be
Yeah.
like a pinch. You'd have to be careful with the ground clove powder. So just a pinch.
So like an eighth of a teaspoon or even less?
Sorry?
Like an eighth of a teaspoon?
Probably less. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
because
right.
it's such a powerful spice.
Yeah,
So if
it
you-
overpowers things.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So just pinch it in your fingers and throw it in.
Okay.
All right, so you get your thyme in there. If you can get your thyme to touch the heat, that would be great. Get some of the fragrances released out of it. Everybody doing good? Any other questions? Okay, Karen's good. Everyone's rice is covered and on simmer, right? All right, awesome, perfect. All right, so if you guys have all of your spices, our flavor base, if you have that complete in your pan, we're gonna start layering our vegetables. We'll start with our eggplant. So this is what I do with my eggplant. If you're not getting your eggplant from a farmer, or if your eggplants are not organic, essentially what I prefer to do, oh, looking great, Sasha. What you want to do is peel the skin off because they add a bit of a waxy layer to preserve it, and you don't want that. But if you get something from one of the farmers at the Belmont Farmers Market, generally they're not going to use those that process to preserve. So you could cook with the skin on in that case. But in this case, I peeled my skin off because there was a bit of a waxy layer because I got mine from the general store. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and layer it in. I'll show you how I'm layering it in rounds. So I'll just take it like that, kind of like I'm doing a pizza. Like as if I'm layering pepperoni on a pizza. Can you see that? I still have my heat on low, by the way. I haven't deglazed yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and just layer my eggplant around the bottom of the pan over the spices and the tomato, like so. The eggplant has a lot of liquid in it, so as the heat touches it, as the heat penetrates it, it'll release the liquids and it'll start to deglaze the pan on its own, but we are going to add some water into the pan in a moment. We've got the watercress as well. Did you guys get watercress, or were you able to find watercress? What are you using as?
I got watercress.
Okay, great.
I don't.
I got watercress. Yeah.
You have some? Where did you find it?
Wilson
I
Farm.
found it on the market basket.
Winston Farm. I didn't think about that place. Yes, can I use arugula?
Yes, you and Karen have the same question. Arugula is perfect. Yeah, you could use that. It's got a nice spicy flavor, which is not too far off from the watercress anyway. So it'll be nice. The texture is slightly different.
I got it in the Waltham market basket, if anyone's
okay,
interested.
great. So I've got my watercress in after I have layered in the eggplant rounds. And then I'll go ahead and add my spinach to the top of that. Spinach is so easy to find, like, hopefully no one had problems finding spinach.
No.
Okay, good. So this is why you need a deep pot, because all of the greens are gonna wanna pile over, but of course it's gonna cook down so fast and it's gonna shrink to nothing, so don't worry if it's overflowing at this point, because it'll reduce in a moment. All right. Let me know when you guys are good, and then we're gonna start talking about the pepper before we add the pepper in. At this point, your fire is still on low, by the way. Good stuff.
Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, Sarah?
In the original description, it said also green beans, but that wasn't in your recipe. But could you put green beans in here if you wanted to? Like,
Yeah, so
or-
because we're doing, yeah, the original, I have another recipe on my website that includes the green beans. And with the green beans, it's just a longer cooking process. And because we're doing 3 parts to this meal, I wanted to fit it into 1 hour. So we're doing the ingredients that cook the quickest, or we're just doing less steps as well. But you could do the green beans whenever you're doing this another
Okay,
time. Yeah.
I saw your son. Yeah, I already made my rice because I was planning to cook with you.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, so green
Yeah, I
beans.
did it this morning just to get it done.
Okay. So you could do green beans, you could do cabbage. Another time, if you guys want to do it that way, my recipe, I have that recipe on my website, like I said. So this is what we're doing with our peppers. If you can see my pepper, I just press the cloves into that so that we're not losing the cloves in the dish. Do you have your cloves, Anne?
Well, I crushed them, so
Oh, okay, cool. That's fine.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, but
You know-
I did get my little pepper.
Yes. When you say you crushed your cloves, did you use a spice grinder or did you use a mortar and pestle? What did you do?
Mortar and pestle.
Oh, okay.
But I took them off the stem.
Oh, okay.
I crushed the bulb.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's nice and dry, so it should
So,
push into
yeah.
the powder. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
perfect.
easy. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was concerned about, because if you had the stem in there and if somebody bit into it, you probably have had that experience of biting into a clove stem.
A little overwhelming. Yeah.
Oh, a little is an understatement. Yeah, your whole mouth goes numb. Not good. So,
Okay.
all right, this smells so, oh, yay, I'm so happy to hear that. Okay, so get your cloves inserted into your pepper like so. You want 4 cloves. Oh, you're using a jalapeno. Is that a jalapeno? Or is that an Italian pepper? What is that other pepper called? What is that?
Yeah.
Jalapeno pepper.
It is a jalapeno. Oh, okay. So the jalapeno has a bit of a different flavor from the habanero and Scotch bonnet. Yeah, it looks like a serrano, right? So oh, you have a serrano. Okay, jalapeno serrano. That's the difference. Yours is a bit more narrow. So here's what the flavor differences in this. So the jalapeno, the habanero, or Scotch bonnet pepper, which is very closely related to the habanero, it has a citrusy flavor, has a crisper flavor, whereas the jalapeno pepper, the flavor is a bit earthier. And the serrano pepper, it's also more of an earthy flavor. You kind of get the bell pepper kind of essence to it as well. So you won't get the full flavor of this with those pepper substitutes, but at least the heat is totally different. This is hotter than those other two. The jalapeno will be milder than this, and then the serrano milder than the jalapeno. So if you're avoiding heat, then Karen, you've got the best choice. Well, I guess the best choice is no peppers, but go ahead and throw that into the pot just on top, and then you can cover it now. Oh, don't cover it yet. Let's add our liquid. Actually, we're going to do 3/4 cup of water, or you could do 3/4 cups of a broth, a vegetable broth or meat broth, if you want to do meat broth. 1/4 cup of water. Don't do 3/4 cups. I'm so sorry if I said 3/4. Don't do 3/4 just yet. Let's see. Okay, guys, I'm so sorry. Okay, I lied. The parsley we could add now. We were supposed to add it beforehand. That's my bad. I totally overlooked it. It's right here, but we can go ahead and dump it in now. Thank you, Karen, for being on top of things.
How much of the water?
3/4 cup of water. Yeah.
So c'est bon.
Yes. So if you have not added your parsley yet, go ahead and add it in. I had missed that step earlier. Your parsley, 3/4 cups of water. Let me get water. I'll be right back. And then we're going to go ahead and cover this.
Do we stir it?
Nope, you can leave it. You're not going to have any, yeah, as long as your heat stays on low at this point, we're going to turn it up in a little bit once we put the lid on. But the vegetables are going to provide a lot of its own juice as well. So yeah, you don't have to worry about stirring it and deglazing the bottom. That will naturally happen on its own. Yeah. All right. So we can go ahead and cover this, and we're going to move on to making our plantains. Once you got that covered, gonna have your medium on, I'm sorry, you're gonna put your fire at medium.
Can I ask a question about the herbs?
Yeah.
So you chop the parsley, but the
Yes.
watercress you just put in whole?
Yeah, the watercress
Okay.
can go and hold. The parsley you're chopping because you don't want to have, initially we were supposed to have the parsley cooked through with the spices at the beginning as part of the flavor base. And it was my bad for not doing that earlier. I totally overlooked the parsley. Thank you, Karen.
Is there spinach too?
Yes, there's spinach as well. So we added in the eggplant first, then we added the watercress and then the spinach. The watercress it's got more fibrous texture than the spinach, so it takes longer to cook. So we put that closer to the heat for that reason. So the spinach is on top because it doesn't take much time to cook, but it's providing a lot of earthy flavor to the dish, which is why we're adding it in so early. And the texture will be broken down quite dramatically, but it's the flavor that we're after in this case. So we're getting the flavor from the spinach all the way through all of the rest of the vegetables in this dish. And that's why we're adding it at this point. A lot of times recipes are using spinach in a sauteed format or raw as a salad, but the legume is all about the flavor. And that's why we have
Did
added.
you use like a chard or kale?
Yeah,
if you want a different green? I mean, I love spinach too.
Yeah. Okay, so once you guys are all set with your vegetables in the pan, covered, you've got your liquid in there, 3/4 cups of liquid, you've got your pot covered, and you've got your fire on a medium heat, then we'll move on to preparing our plantains. You good, Sasha? Awesome. You're good, Karen. And you're good.
I'm not gonna make the plantains, so I'm gonna watch.
Oh, okay, good. Do you not like plantains, or were you not, you don't want to do the frying? You're muted. You're muted.
Sorry, I didn't want to do all the frying.
Oh, okay. I feel you. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Is anybody else not going to do that? Is anybody else skipping that part? We're going to do it? Okay. Yeah, I know, Anne. Frying is...
I got the plantains, but I was going to fry them in something not oil.
Were you going to do an air fryer? Which is...
No, I thought either water or broth or the liquid from chickpeas. People love using that for things. I'm not sure. Do you have a recommendation?
So that's it. So it wouldn't be bouillon pesé at that point. You'll end up with something that's a bit, the texture will be more mushy as you're cooking it in the liquid like that. So with the bouillon pesé, we're getting...
Just use the liquid. I do it pretty dry. I just maybe put a spoon of liquid in so it doesn't stick.
Okay.
It's not gonna be a steam. I mean, I haven't cooked with oil in like 6 years.
Okay.
Just don't use oil.
All right, so
Um,
let's go ahead and, oh, they're really spicy, Karen? Serranos are really spicy. I don't know why I thought they were mild.
Yeah,
Okay.
poblanos are really mild.
Oh, that's what, maybe I'm thinking about the poblano.
Maybe you're thinking of poblano. Those are even milder than jalapeno.
Okay, thanks,
Hi,
Sarah.
I'm here.
All right. Oh, okay.
I have them on here.
So let's go ahead and start doing the plantains. Yeah, good. When you are buying plantain, especially getting the green one, you're looking for a pretty smooth, if you could find it, sometimes it's difficult to find a good quality plantain, especially, yeah, that looks good. It's got spots on it, but that's fine. Yeah, everybody got pretty good looking
It was
plantains.
also from Market Basket in Waltham.
Okay. So
They have a
depending
lot
on
of
where
them.
you are, depending on the population, as you all know, depending on the population, you're going to find the different ingredients in that supermarket. So if you're not finding it near you, you might just have to travel a bit where there is a Caribbean population or Latino population. So my plantain looks so good. I was so surprised because my supermarket hasn't been doing a good job at carrying good plantains, but today they did. I was so proud of them. So what we're going to do is cut off the ends. You don't have to worry about rinsing this off, but go ahead and cut off the ends on both sides, on both ends. Let me get my camera over here. Let's see, can you see? Is that fine? Is that a good view? I think that's a good view. All right. So go ahead and chop off the ends. That's going to get tossed away, but here is how. Let me do it on this screen. When you are peeling your plantain, you could score it 3 times along the length, or you could score it once and peel it away using the side of your thumb. So you'd be pressing in to peel it away. So just be careful with your knife. And I'm going to get my knife right into one of the edges of the plantain here. And I'm going to cut down the length of it. You see that? All right. And then I'm going to show you how to peel it. Was that clear for you guys? You're going to score it down the length. And then as I'm peeling it, I press my thumb along that slice there, along that cut. You hear how it's coming away. Yeah, it's kind of fun. But the thing is, plantain can leave a black stain if you have too much. If you've been working with too many plantains with the raw skin without a glove on, it could leave a black stain along your hands. So you just want to just keep that in mind for the future if you're going to be making a lot of plantain, a lot of fried plantains. So, all right, so I'm going to remove that skin. So with one score, I'm able to get the entire skin off. But if you,
It's breaking.
sorry?
It's breaking.
You know what, it might be, so this, I was going to make the next point, Sarah. Sometimes where you purchase your plantains, they may not have the best quality, depends on how well it was ripened, or at what point they pulled it off of the tree. Sometimes they do a forced ripening process, and that makes it very difficult to peel away the skin. So that could be what's happening with you, Sarah.
This one is really green too, because the instructions said green.
Yeah, you want it to be green versus yellow. Yellow plantain isn't going to fry very well. It's just going to soak up all of the oil. So here we are. I'm gonna go ahead and peel away all of the skin. Sarah, it might be helpful for you to do it underwater if it gets too difficult. Be careful with your nails, because your nails are going to get some of the residue of the plantain and it's going to cause it to turn black. Yeah.
Okay.
So you use the side of your thumb as best as you can, and then wash your hands immediately so that you're not left with any stain under your nail. How's everybody doing? How you doing, Maya? Who's on banana? Oh, y'all already got it cut. That's awesome. Good. Have you made plantains before, Klaus? Have you made fried plantains before? Oh, okay. That's good. That looks great.
Yellow.
We mostly grilled the yellow plantains, but I used to have a Cuban friend who would make the fried plantains.
Oh, okay, good. So you've seen the process. Yeah, it's so helpful. All you need is to see it done once, and then it's an easy process afterwards. So Frederic, you're good? You and Sasha good? Got your pan, okay? Oh, you're doing great over there, Sarah. You're good. Anna, are you doing good? Karen, how's it going over there? Oh, good, perfect. You got 2 peeled. Good, good, good. Yeah, yours looks great. Yours look great. It looks like you probably got really good quality plantain. Yeah, they're nice and smooth. That's perfect. All right, good.
We're using both right now?
Sorry?
We're using both of them right now?
Yes, we're gonna use both.
Okay.
You don't have to if you don't want to. It's gonna serve 4. This recipe is to serve 4 people. A good hearty portion for 4 people, but in our Haitian culture, we often we prepare larger dishes than most other cultures. So, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this into 4, 5, or 6 pieces, depending on the length of your plantain. And you want them to be about 1.5 to 2 inches wide. I'm gonna show you one that I did already. So you have it about that wide and you cut it at an angle. All right, see? And the reason why we're cutting it at an angle is because after the first fry, we're gonna pull it out and we're going to press it, and you get a lot of edge, more surface area out of it, and it gives you a better crisp. So the end result is nicer when you've got the angle cut. So let me show you what I mean by the angle cut with this camera here. Here we go. All right. Matter of fact, let's see, we're at 425. You know what? If you have your oil in your pan already, you can go ahead and put that on a medium heat so it could heat up while we're waiting, while we're getting the rest of our ingredients ready. All right. Put mine on medium heat.
They're much harder to peel than bananas.
Oh yeah, they're definitely. The bananas are ripe, purely ripe, whereas these are not as ripe as a banana would be. And you're also never going to eat a plantain raw. Yeah, so I'm gonna go
I've
ahead and
eaten them, I've never cooked them.
what was that?
I said I've eaten them, but I've never cooked them
Oh, okay.
myself, just eaten them that other people cook.
So can you guys see how I'm cutting it at an angle? You guys see? Okay, good. Let's get that one. I managed to get 6 pieces out of my plantain because it was pretty long to start. So you got your angles. This is kind of like what it looks like, if you can kind of see there. I think you should see the good. Oh, perfect, Sasha. That's great. You could even make that into 2 pieces, Sasha, if you want. Everyone else good? And when it comes to your pan, when you're doing the deep fry, you want enough space between the oil and the rim of your pan so that you're not getting overflow, you're not getting a lot of splatter. It's for the safety. So let me show you what mine looks like. Minute, wipe off my hands. So this is what mine looks like. So for example, see, my oil looks a bit darker. So that's how much space I have between the amount of oil in my pan and where my rim is. So my oil is a bit darker because I've used this once before. I did a fry with this a month ago and I saved it to reuse it. I never reused my oil more than 3 times. So 2 to 3 times of frying oil, that's about as much as you should ever use it, because otherwise it's no longer healthy. I forget what happens to the fats. The solids change its structure and the body doesn't process it as well. So if you can get 2 to 3 uses out of your oil, that's great. If you have a good way of throwing it out, then just throw it out and start fresh the next time. So that's how much oil I have in my pan. If you want to use a candy thermometer, you can in this case, and you want it to read at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. That's as hot you want your oil to be.
These slices okay?
Yeah, that looks great. Perfect.
Hmm.
That's perfect. Yep, that looks perfect, Sasha. Fantastic. So while you guys are doing that, we can look at our rice, and if you want to, because the rice at this point, it should be done, but we can test it to see if we need more liquid. Mine looks pretty good. Let me show you it. Get my camera on. All right, so there goes my rice. At this point, you can see it looks pretty fluffy. I'll get a fork to lift that. Second, let me get a fork. All right, let's see. Should be able to see. Can you see how well it's fluffing up? Got a nice fluffy rice. I'm not sure you can see that. For those who are able to, I know everyone else is cooking something, so it's not. So my rice is done. Yours should be done as well, if not on its way. Yours is done, Karen? Anne? Okay, good. Just leave the lid. Okay, yours is done, Sasha. That's great. So you could just leave the lid on. You could even leave the fire on still if you want, and it just keeps it hot. At this point, you're not going to burn it because you've got your fire on its lowest setting. You've got it on simmer. All right. So very good.
Should we put the plantains in?
Not just yet, unless, well, let's test the oil to see how it's doing. What you can do is take the end of a wooden spoon and dip it into the oil to see if you get little bubbles, that means your oil is ready. My oil is not ready because I have no bubbles. What you can do is turn the heat up for now just to get it at the right temperature. And then we're going to turn it back down once we start adding our ingredients, our plantains into that.
How did you store it? At room temperature or?
Oh, the oil?
After you, yeah.
Yeah,
Or
so
in
I
the-
let it, yeah. I let it cool down completely. And then I poured it into, I used a funnel and poured it into a plastic container, sealed it up and threw it into the cabinet. I just stored it in the cabinet at room temperature.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. We can also check on our legume at this point. The liquids would have caused your greens to cook down significantly, and you should still have some liquid in your pot. You should see all of your liquid at this point should be a beautiful red color. And if you want to move your ingredients around to deglaze it, if you still need to deglaze the bottom of your pan from all of that sugar that we got from our ingredients, our onion and our garlic and our tomato paste, just move it around to get the liquid. I still have a good amount of liquid in my pan.
I do not. So should I add liquid?
Yeah, go ahead and add some more. Maybe do a 1/4 cup for now.
Okay.
Yeah. And just make sure your fire stays at a medium at this point, and you could go ahead and cover it back up. Be careful with your peppers. If you don't want to puncture it, be careful as you're moving it around in your pan. Okay. How's everybody doing? Sarah, Oh, you're doing another cooking method. Okay.
I'm using water, just a little water.
Okay.
Let me see. Yeah, no, I don't use oil.
All right.
Surprising how crispy you can get things without oil.
Our oil should be nearly there. If you have bubbles, Karen, okay, great. You could drop your plantains in very carefully. I would use a slotted spoon. I have this, for example, and I would just add my plantains up. Can that go into hot oil? It can? Oh, perfect. Yeah, so go ahead and put them in there and then drop them in carefully. You could do 4 or 5 at a time, depending on how large your pot is, just so you're careful not to get an overflow. Mine looks like it's ready, so I'm gonna go ahead and put mine in as well. I'll drop in 4.
They shouldn't touch each other, right?
In the frying pan, it's fine if they're not gonna be touching each other because you're not gonna crowd the pan.
Yeah, I have a 12-inch.
So I was able to get all 6 of my pieces from one plantain into the frying pan. You were able to do the same, Karen? Okay, so it looks like we might be able to get 1 plantain fried at one time. How you doing, Frederic?
Our oil is not quite there. And can I use this to put the plantain in it?
That's perfect. I need one of those. That's neat. Yeah. That's great. And what else we have? Clavs, how are you doing over there with your oil? Are you ready for putting in did you put in your plantain?
Yeah, we put in the first one.
Oh, okay, great. So you want it to come up to a nice golden color, and then we're gonna pull it out. While this is in there, I want you to start preparing your salt water. The salt water is how we season our plantains after we've pressed it. So this first fry is to somewhat cook it so that we could press it. We're cooking it just enough so that we can get it nice and pressed. So leave that first batch of plantain in your frying pan and then get your water prepared. So let me show you what I have. So I have about 1.5 cups of water and I added some salt to it. I made my water very salty. You want it to be kind of like how Italians prepare their water for pasta, like the ocean, because you're getting the flavor in the plantains. This is the way you're getting the flavor into your plantains. So I've added about 4 tablespoons of salt. In the recipe, I wrote it differently just in case someone is careful about the amount of salt that they're consuming. But as you're doing this yourself, you could adjust the amount of salt that you want to add to it. So this is my water. Be careful not to keep it close to your hot oil because you don't want to have an accident of water and oil together.
And it's cold water with the salt, right?
Yeah, that's cold is fine, warm is fine, as long as you can get your fingers in there comfortably.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter, yeah. We're almost there, guys. We've got about another 10 minutes to go, and then we're gonna be sinking our teeth in. Let me get this view better.
Yeah, maybe the air fryer would be a good idea too.
The air fryer would work for the yellow plantains, but not the green, because the green, unless you slice the green very thin, as if you're gonna make a chip out of it, the green would require more time to cook, and the air fryer the texture might not be most appealing in the air fryer with the green, but definitely the yellow plantain, you could do that in the air fryer.
What about like baking or roasting?
Sorry?
What about baking or roasting?
Again, for the yellow plantain, you could bake and you could roast, but not the green. The green, you either boil it or you are frying it, deep frying it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the options you have for the green. And for the yellow plantain, if it's very yellow, you're definitely not going to want to deep fry it. If you're in between green and yellow with the yellow plantain, you could try deep frying it, but again, it's going to be
Sorry.
risky. That's okay, Anne. It's going to be risky just because the yellow will absorb a lot of that oil. So this is what the first fry is going to look like. We've got a golden color. If you could see that.
Golden color?
Yes. You see it, Mary? I mean, Maya?
Well, I can't see it.
You can't? Okay, I'm sorry. Well, let's see.
Oh, yeah. Looks good.
Oh, good. I'm excited. All right. I had prepared on the side a rack with paper towels on top to catch the oil, to let it drain out. Can you see that on the other screen that I have? You could do it on a paper, you could do it on a plate. If you have a paper plate, you could do that. Just line the paper plate with a few sheets of paper towel or a kitchen towel. And then once you pull your plantain out from the oil, put it onto the paper towel so it could drain. And then go ahead and add the next batch into your oil. And then we'll move on to the next step after we have the second batch in the oil. Okay, good. So at this point,
What
we're
would
going
the
to add,
texture be?
at this point, we're going to add our carrots into the legume, and we're going to cover it again. We're going to bring our heat down a bit. We're going to go ahead and add our carrots. If you can, carefully remove the lid from your legume pan so that you're not getting any water into your grease. So we just go ahead and add our carrots to the legume. If you could see that. And then place the lid back on. All right. Good. Everybody got their carrots in? All right, awesome. Check for the liquid. If you don't have enough liquid, oh good, I'm glad it smells good. If you don't have enough liquid in your legume pan, add a little bit again. You're just less than a quarter cup at this point while you have the carrots in, and then keep the heat on medium. Especially if you have a lot of liquids in your pan, you want to keep your heat on medium so you can cook that liquid out. Legume is not supposed to be liquidy. It's supposed to be a very, all of the liquid should have been absorbed into the vegetables before you're serving it. All right. Okay. So let me move.
Can we start a second bunch of plantain?
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead and do that. Get it in there. We're going to go ahead and process the plantains, the first batch that was fried already. I'll show you how to do that. So we got the batch that was fried, and we're going to press it. If you don't have one of these, this is a pezit. You find it in Latin stores, Latin American stores. You can find it in Caribbean stores. If you don't have one, that's totally fine. We'll use the bottom of a sturdy cup. A very sturdy one. Yep, a mug will work, Mary, because basically, as you're pressing down, you don't want to injure yourself with breaking a glass in your hand. That'll work too, Karen. So you just want to be able to press down safely without breaking it in your hand. So that's the purpose of, if you have plastic, even better. This is pretty sturdy, so it'll work for me if I were to use this, but I'm going to use my Piz. And so this is what we're going to get. Let me move this. Let's see if you could see that. I'm going to place my fried piece of plantain in there. I'm going to go ahead and press it. And this is what we end up with. So this is why we cut it at an angle, because you get all of this edge that's going to crisp up in the fryer really nicely. So if you don't have the Pez, again, this is how you're going to do it. Let me get another piece of plantain. What you can do is use saran wrap. At the bottom, you could put saran wrap. You could wrap the plantain in the saran wrap loosely and then press it so you're not having anything stuck to the surface of your counter or a cutting board, for example. So I'm going to go ahead and press down on this piece of plantain with the cup. And I got the same result. It just requires a little bit more effort. All right. So you go ahead and do that with all of your pieces. You guys okay? Mary looks, what's happening over there, Mary? You guys okay? All right, good. Oh yeah, that looks great, Karen. Let me see that. Perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's great. All right, who else? Sasha, do you have your piece? Did you already press some? I'm gonna go ahead and move this camera. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Yes. Yeah, you got yours pretty thin. That's great. All right. My first batch is still in here. I'm gonna go ahead and remove it. All right. So now that we have our plantain pieces pressed, you're going to dip it in that salty water to get the seasoning in there, but you're not going to add it into your oil immediately. Just get it soaked in there and put it to the side and continue pressing the others so that you could safely place that in your frying oil. It'll still have some liquid on it, but it won't be splattering. Set that to the side while you get the rest processed. How you guys doing? And how's your legume coming around? How's it coming along, rather?
It looks great. I smashed it and now it's, it's on medium, so it's kind of boiling a little.
So you've got a lot of liquid in there still then?
Well, I added a little. Hang on.
Oh, okay.
I do.
Okay, so you just want that, so remove the lid entirely.
Lid, yeah.
And let that liquid cook out.
Yeah.
So that'll get you the flavor balance again. Right now, that liquid would have probably watered down the flavor a little bit. So as the water reduces, you get that concentration of flavor again. So yeah, just let it stay at medium and cook out that liquid.
Okay.
You said your rice was all set. Your rice is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had used an African spice.
Ooh, interesting.
That I got at the Roslindale Farmers Market.
That should be nice.
Yeah, so smells great.
Okay, good. Okay, so at this point, if you guys are moving along nicely, you should be getting ready to deep fry the plantain that has been pressed for the second. You're going in for the second fry at this point. The salt water is just a dip in and a pull it out. Yeah. Just dip it in and pull it out. Let me know once you get your plantain fried, and then we're gonna plate up. It's 4:48. We've gone over just a little bit. We're gonna plate it up. You can continue to cook out your fried plantains after we wrap up the class here, but just get some into the frying pan for now. Get your 6 pieces or so from the first plantain that you cooked. You're gonna wait for it to get a golden color. Are you pressing it, Maya? Are you pressing the plantains? I could see. You're using all your might, all your strength. The plantains don't take long to cook at this point. Oh, my fire alarm just went off. All right, sorry about that. That was very loud, very loud. Okay, so let's look at our plantains. It should be nice and perfectly golden, perfectly crispy. This is what we're getting. This is the final result of the fried, whoops, let me get that in the right view. Is yours all set, Karen? So it should look nice and golden. Whoops.
I help smush it.
Yes, that looks great. Looks great, Sasha. Maya, I'm glad you helped smush it. That means you're pretty strong. Oh yeah, that looks great. Yeah, that looks perfect. You guys are ready to plate up and eat at this point, and you've been ready. Well, you've got liquid in your pot. So you're just gonna let yours.
It's almost gone. Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. So you guys could go ahead and dig in. Once you've got all of your plantain pieces deep fried, dig into your meal. You just serve your rice, put your the legume on top of your rice, and then the fried plantains on the side. If you've got hot sauce, put some hot sauce near there. You got hot sauce. Check for some salt. See if you need some salt in your legume at this point, and then you could just add it at the very end. Everything should be perfectly soft. How does it taste, Karen? Nice. The dance.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. And hopefully you have a delicious meal in front of you right now to enjoy. I'm very jealous. I wish I had been able to cook along. But thank you again to Blonde for taking us on that journey. And if you want to see more of her work, definitely do check out her website, thishaiti.com, for more information, more recipes, all of that. So again, thank you, Blonde, and hopefully we will see you all again soon.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. It was fun. Thank you.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Enjoy. Bon appetit.
Thank you.